Hello everyone, good afternoon. Sage here live from the 𝐊𝐼𝐴 studios in Sydney, and you're watching The Last Trade. Well, while persistent concerns over rising COVID-19 cases dented market sentiments, firm Global Q's provided some support to the ASX 200 today. And on that note, let us zoom our lens on the market performance on the first day of the week. Australian shares were trading marginally higher at the closing hour on Monday as gains in the industrials, energy and utility stocks were offset by selling across telecom, healthcare, financials and the tech space. The market opened higher today, tracking firm cues from Wall Street, but the second half of the day's trade witnessed pullbacks as persistent concerns over rising COVID-19 cases weighed on investors' sentiment. New South Wales has reported 35 new locally transmitted COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours. The S&P ASX 200 was trading higher by 5.60 points at 7,314. Near the close and early today, the index opened higher at 7,308 and gained as much as 0.5% to hit an intraday high of 7,343. The market breadth indicating the overall strength of the market was mixed, with 6 of the 11 sectoral indices trading in red. The industrial sector was the top performer with 5% gains, among others utilities, energy, REIT and materials were the notable gainers. And meanwhile, telecom was the worst performer on the ASX with 0.9% losses made. Among others, consumer discretionary, healthcare, tech and financials were the top laggards. And moving on now, let us take a look at how the sectoral indices performed today. The information technology witnessed selling pressure for the second straight session, undermining firm cues from the US counterpart, Nasdaq. In the tech space, buy now, pay later giant Afterpay and network operator Megaport were down over 1% each. Extending gains for the second consecutive session, ASX-listed energy stocks were in an upbeat mood, with index heavyweight Woodside Petroleum leading the gain. Santos, Oil Search, Origin Energy, Beach Energy and Ampol were among the top gainers. In the mining sector, index heavyweights BHP Group, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals Group were trading higher, owing to the firm iron ore prices. And among the gold stocks, De Grey Mining, Ramelius Resources, Silver Lake Resources, Newcrest Mining and the smaller peer Chalice Mining were leading the gains. In the banking sector, all of Australia's big four lenders, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Australia and New Zealand Banking Group, Westpac Banking Corporation and National Australia Bank were trading lower. And on this note, let's now have a quick glance at the top gainers and losers of the day. Among the individual stocks, Sydney Airport was the top percentage gainer on the ASX, rising 31.5% after the company received 22 billion Australian dollars takeover bid from Infrastructure Consortium. And some of the other gainers were Chalice Mining, Auckland International Airport, Atlas Arteria, Whitehaven Coal and A2 Milk Company. On the flip side, however, Australian tech firm Nuix was the top laggard on the ASX with 5% losses. Tabcorp Holdings, Clinuvel Pharmaceuticals and Nine Entertainment Co Holdings were among the other notable losers. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more of the trending updates.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from 𝐊𝐼𝐴 Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new 𝐊𝐼𝐴 Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to 𝐊𝐼𝐴 TV and join me.
Welcome back, Sage here, live from the 𝐊𝐼𝐴 studios in Sydney, and you're watching The Last Trade. Well, we're just about to take a look now at the news that the shares, should I say, that have made the news today. And shares of Sydney Airport rose as much as 38.38% to hit a 52-week high of $8.04 Australian after the company received 22 billion Australian dollars takeover bid from the Infrastructure Consortium. And the stock witnessed a surge in volume as 28.88 million shares worth 224.5 million Australian dollars changed hands over the counter. The market cap of the company rose to 15.67 billion Australian dollars. The airport has received an $8.25 Australian per share takeover bid from the consortium of infrastructure investors, including IFM Investors and Q Super. The bid offer is at 42% premium to Friday's close and is below Sydney Airport's pre-pandemic share price levels. The offer price is below where the company's shares traded during the pre-COVID period. And the board of the debt-ridden airport said it would assess the proposal that came during a global pandemic which has deeply affected the aviation industry and the Sydney Airport security price. Next up, the shares of Star Pharma Holdings dropped as much as 8.7% to reach $1.36 Australian. And this is after the biopharmaceutical company was fined $100,000 Australian dollars for alleged unlawful advertising of its COVID-fighting antiviral nasal spray. The Melbourne-based biotech firm is in an exchange filing, said that it has received several infringement notices from the Therapeutic Goods Administration for illegal advertising of its nasal spray. 𝐕𝐝𝐼𝐼𝐼 to Australian consumers. The total amount of the infringement notices is 93,240 Australian dollars, the company said on Monday. As per the TGA, Star Pharma allegedly promoted its nasal spray through its website and YouTube channel, even though the product was not permitted for use in Australia. The TGA Act 1989 prohibits a company from advertising its products to the public that are not entered on the Australian Register of the Therapeutic Goods unless a specific exemption, approval or authority applies. Shares of Crown Resorts fell 1.34% to reach $11.76 Australian after Australia's largest gaming and entertainment group warned that its financial year 21 earnings would be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic as well as corporate and regulatory costs. And going forward, the COVID-19 related closures and operating restrictions, regulatory processes as well as investment in resourcing and capability are some of the key factors that will impact the financial performance throughout the financial year 22. The casino operator said it expects to report a statutory loss after tax for the full year ended 30th June 2021 without disclosing further details. And the company intends to release earnings report on August 30th, 2021. Next on our list is shares of Pay Group, gained as much as 7.2% to 52 cents Australian after the payroll solutions provider shared that it has signed a 3-year contract with the multinational beauty company Coty Inc. The company said it will manage Coty's payroll function across 10 countries through its end-to-end software capabilities. The company added total contract value is about 1 million Australian dollars. And now it's time for another short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates after this.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV.
Welcome back, Sage here, live from the 𝐊𝐴𝐚 studios, and you are watching The Last Trade. And shares of Jervois Mining rose as much as 1.7% to 60 cents after cobalt-focused mining firm stated it has successfully priced and closed books on its units offerings of the senior secured bonds to raise 100 million Australian dollars guaranteed by Jervois. The company said that the fund's proceeds from the bond issue will be used to fund construction of Jervois' Idaho cobalt operations in the US. Next up is the online labour for hire marketplace Airtasker rose as much as 5.8% to reach $1.18 Australian, and the company has reported its financial year 21 gross marketplace volume at around 153.1 million Australian dollars, more than the prospectus forecast of 143.7 million Australian dollars. Shares of family-owned cyber safety rose nearly 15% to reach 65.5 cents after their biggest intraday percentage gain since 14th August 2020. The company, credited of creating cyber safety platforms for schools, informed it has added around 1 million students and about 2,000 schools in the June quarter. It also informed it has signed total contracts worth 5.8 million Australian dollars in the quarter. Also making the news, shares of Ragusa Minerals soared as much as 29% to 8.8 cents after the Gold Explorer said it has entered separate binding heads of agreements with Iridium Resources Pty Limited and Carlo Pucan. Thorney Technologies has just announced it has received firm commitments to raise 25.3 million Australian dollars via a fully committed two-tranche placement of fully paid ordinary shares to investors at a price of 40 cents per new share. And shares of logistics provider Qube Holdings rose as much as 1.6% to reach $3.22 Australian. The company stated it would sell all its interest in the Moorebank Logistics Park to a consortium led by the Sydney-based logistics company Logos Property Group for $1.67 Australian. Or, let me correct that, phrasing. Moorebank Logistics Park is to a consortium led by Sydney-based logistics company Logos Property Group for 1.67 billion Australian dollars, more correctly. And Moorebank Logistics Park, located off Sydney, is expected to be Australia's largest freight infrastructure project, according to the company's website. Risk management services provider Ava Risk Group jumped as much as 14.5% to 47.5 cents, and the company stated that it expects its revenue forecast for financial year 2021 to be at 64.8 million Australian dollars, up 41% from a year earlier. And shares of the BetMakers Technology Group jumped 11.5% on sealing a deal with Spore Tech PLC. The betting tech firm climbed as Tabcorp Holdings opts to split into two listed companies, Lotteries and Keno, and Wagering and Media. Amero International has announced that it will be constructing the most advanced titanium alloy gas atomisation powder manufacturing facility to be installed and commissioned in Victoria. The company is a specialist in the metal additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing, for the defence, aerospace and tooling sectors. And on this note, let us now shift our focus over to the Asian markets performance. The Asian markets continued to trade higher after making a positive start on Monday as investors cheered the US job data, which indicated that Feds will not hike the interest rates in the near future. However, the persistent pandemic situation in the region weighed on the market sentiments. And Japan's Nikkei was down 0.45% lower, while Jakarta Composite plunged 0.52%, pairing most of the early gains. And meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng was up 0.05%, while Taiwan's weighted index traded 0.8% higher. New Zealand's benchmark S&P NZX 50 gained 7%, and Singapore's Straits Times rose 0.25%. India's BSE Sensex climbed 0.6% in the opening trade. And on Friday, all the three major US stocks ended higher. The Dow Jones rose 0.44%, the S&P 500 gained 0.75%, and the Nasdaq Composite added 0.81% as well. Thanks for joining us on our reports today. That is all for now in the last trade, and I shall see you as close as possible to 10 a.m. live from the Sydney studio tomorrow morning. And this is Sage signing off.